Are you at home? Are you safe and warm wherever you are? Assalamu alaikum. Very good day. I'm Khawa Solomon. Please stay with me for the next hour. And it's just after 4 p.m., which means you are in Health Matters COVID-19 Extra. Remember, you can still catch our Health Matters show every Tuesday evening between 8:30 and 9:30 p.m. Also on COVID-19 Update. Today we talk about financial stress. Is your money causing you some sort of anxiety or distress? Please stay tuned as we highlight this topic. We talk to talk therapists a little bit later on. We'll give you help and context of what you need to know if you are struggling, and we talk to an entrepreneur as well. If you have an organization or a mosque in your area that you'd like us to highlight at the end of each show, that's exactly what we will do. So don't forget to WhatsApp us your details, connect with us in the show, during the show and after the show, all related to COVID-19, whether you're struggling mentally, physically, medically as well, and those within your organization. We try and make this a comprehensive show, Health Matters COVID-19 Extra. So first up, message from the IMA. Dr. Riaz Ismail, our member out in Cape Town, has put this slogan together for us today. It says, donate towards the COVID and any COVID-19 relief efforts. Hashtag share and care. Please follow the Instagram page, hashtag share and care. Firstly, check up on your family. As we know, that's where Zakah starts. Charity begins at home. Check up on any family member who needs help, financial, whether they need groceries, whether you can help and you're an essential service on the road and you can assist them. So check up on family first. Also find out what your local masjid's bank details are. You can check that on your community notice group if you are in a WhatsApp group, or you can contact your local majlis or madrasa and find out their bank details. Give what you can. Just start from as little as 10 Rand, even if it's a packet of biscuits and you are on your way to your local supermarket and there's somebody, because I've noticed there are still people standing at the robots, take something for them to eat, a fruit, some water, a packet of biscuits. Give where you can, even if it's just 10 Rand. And then if you cannot give, if you cannot afford to give a cent or anything, I think as a donation, and you also have to know that praying, making dua for the ummah, for mankind, is also a way of giving charity. So anybody that you, and mankind in poverty, and understand that that's also charity when you just make that dua, and even a smile, we've been told, is a hadith of giving charity. Make a donation to a cause that helps others. There are many, many causes, and we do feature that in the last segment as well. Make that donation to, whether it is 100 Rand a week you can spare or 50 Rand, but try and give a little at a time. And it's amazing that the SA Muslim COVID organization team, they have raised almost 7 million Rand to help people within South Africa. And then inspire others. Get your family to give together, your friends, your neighbors, and I've seen also, not forgetting the pets and those that the SPCA organizations, and they have people on the ground that's actually looking for masks. So if you're able to donate some masks or give to charity to their organizations, these welfare organizations as well. So there you have it. The IMA message for hashtag 19th day of the lockdown is donate towards a COVID-19 relief, hashtag share and care. We move on to our video feature for today, and a very informative video. How will the coronavirus affect Africa's economy? Take a look.
The coronavirus is not only a public health emergency, it also poses a major threat to the world's economy. It's already caused global stock markets to crash, raising fears of a recession. So far, Africa has escaped the scale of infection seen in other parts of the world. But does that mean it will also escape the economic consequences of the pandemic? The answer is almost certainly no. African countries trade more with the rest of the world than they do with each other. Take China, where the COVID-19 outbreak began. It's Africa's biggest trading partner, and China's economy has been severely disrupted. Factories have been closed, many international flights suspended, and workers placed in lockdown. Suddenly, African traders used to flying back and forth to buy Chinese goods can't get hold of the stock they need. So with fewer products to buy, consumer spending in Africa could go down, which would slow economic growth. With China, the world's factory, hitting pause on production, its demand for African commodities has fallen off a cliff. Raw materials like oil, Africa's most lucrative export. Angola and Congo-Brazzaville sell more oil to China than any other African country. Nigeria, the continent's biggest oil exporter, sells more than a third of its oil to Europe. And with Europe now at the epicenter of the pandemic, demand there will be hit. And a drop in oil sales is not the continent's only problem. The same slump will hit other commodities like copper and other metals used in construction and manufacturing. Demand for other goods will also go down as COVID-19 hits key trading partners. So Ethiopia may struggle to find buyers for its coffee, Kenya for its flowers, Ivory Coast for its cocoa, and Zambia for its copper. Another big blow for African economies will be the impact on travel and tourism. The number of tourists and business people visiting Africa from other parts of the world has fallen sharply as flights are suspended and some governments introduce travel bans on passengers from Europe, China, and the US. Before the pandemic, tourism in Africa was growing at 5% a year. For countries like South Africa, Botswana, Rwanda, and Uganda, just to name a few, tourism is a vital part of the economy. It generates billions of dollars and supports around 1 in 10 of all jobs. Until the pandemic is over, fewer tourists will be booking holidays in Africa. So far, Africa has not suffered the death and disruption COVID-19 has caused in Italy and China. But sadly, it won't be immune when it comes to the economic fallout from the virus.
So there you have it. We know that Africa is rich in its resources, and alhamdulillah, let us look after that and protect that as well. And we follow more on the South African economy and what's happening to entrepreneurs in a few minutes, or at least in a minute or two. We'll be chatting to Zaf Khan, a coffee entrepreneur. But also to remind you to send through your questions, comments and queries when we talk about the financial stress with talk therapist Shireen Dindar. She'll be telling us how to cope, how to sort of conscientize on what is important and understand what is going on around you. And at the end of the day, we need to be stable amongst this pandemic that has created some sort of mental anxiety for everyone at home. Remember, it's not just you, it's across the globe. So now let's link up with Zaf Khan. Zaf Khan is a health coffee entrepreneur. A very good day to you, Zaf. Welcome to the airwaves of Health Matters.
Firstly and foremost, thanks to God for every single day, and thank you for having me on your channel. And yeah, welcome to you and welcome to all and everyone who's watching this from wherever in the country or the world.
Absolutely. Zaf Khan, tell us a bit about yourself. You are an entrepreneur, but you're into health coffee.
Yes, that's great. Well, I am an entrepreneur, and I made this decision I think it's about 6 years ago. And this is the single best business decision that I've stuck with. Personally, for me, it has helped me grow exponentially, and it's also given me financial freedom in the process.
Okay, so tell us how the outbreak of COVID-19 has affected entrepreneurs and startup like yourselves.
Right. Well, basically, I have my notes here as well, just to touch in. Well, as you can see, I mean, the world is not stable at the moment, and there hasn't been a time where the world was really stable, right? So entrepreneurs are always opportunists, and we don't wait to be led. Entrepreneurs lead. And at a time like this, it's most certainly a time to innovate, to get creative, and look at what people really need right now. Stop putting ourselves first and see what the world needs and what we can do to provide them with the help. And I think that's the best way forward, right? Is to help others. And as an entrepreneur, and to everyone out there who are entrepreneurs, that's something you have to decide. Decide what the world needs and how can you help them.
Do you find that small businesses will recover after this pandemic, and how so?
Well, it's not necessarily going to be that easy, but there's always hope. Remember, after every hurricane comes a rainbow. And if we look at the times, one of my mentors, Tony Robbins, has told many times that in crisis mode, what we are experiencing right now, the best and the strongest companies rise above all of this. And if you look at companies, global companies like Amazon, Ford, Apple, Microsoft, these are all companies that has come and developed through crisis. They started off in small garages, some started off in outbuildings, and they grew through these times. Remember, fear is what stops people, and entrepreneurs have no fear. We go forward with an idea of how we can shape the world. And you know what? In order to recover, we must achieve a growth mindset and not a fixed mindset. Just to give you a quick example, a fixed mindset, college and universities and school will not teach you, but a growth mindset is something you will basically learn as an entrepreneur as you go about life, basically.
How much of an effect will this continue to have on in the economy, and I mean, especially for small businesses?
Well, basically, when you come down to things, right, what is the economy? The economy is its people. And if we have no people, we have no economy. And I believe South Africa will recover from this, and we will have a head start compared to other places around the world, simply being because we have tourism. And I really have to thank the president and all the great minds that went towards putting this lockdown into place. Because if we look at places like the USA, they don't have full lockdown, and that's why things are getting out of hand. But what our president has done in this country is implemented it, and majority of the people who are abiding by it will be, how can I say, safe and healthy. And that's what we got to do. So obviously, during times like this, you have to take massive action and figure out while you're at home what you can do to benefit the economy. Because when we get out of this 21-day lockdown, this is going to be a new South Africa. This is not going to be normal anymore. We are obviously growing into a new phase, and this is our time to restart our businesses, relaunch our businesses, get ourselves out there and let the world know what we have to offer. And South Africa is well known for tourism. And I believe this is really going to help the economy when we get out of it.
There are, however, businesses that are benefiting from this pandemic. Which businesses are there? If you could just, tell us the profile of the business or what they're doing, and would one of them be you?
Basically, when you look at a situation like this, I was on a call the other night with some of the most powerful people in the world today, and one of the things they said that really touched my heart, and these are multi-billion-dollar earners, and they told me, you know what, at a time like this, you could have the best product out there, but don't go and promote your product. People at this time need love and compassion. So you need to reach out to those people and show them that you care. Things can follow. You may have the best product out there, but right now it's not a time to basically be selling that or doing that. And yes, there's many companies out there that are doing well. I mean, right now, for the first time in a long time, sanitation has become a massive thing. In America, I've seen people actually paying thousands of dollars for sanitizer, which is crazy. And people are using this as an opportunity, which is the wrong way to approach things. And the industry I'm in is, it's a coffee industry. And the difference between my coffee industry and the others is we have a slight advantage, and ours being a health product. So when you look at the market right now, places like, you look at the Middle East, they are not doing business. They sell oil to the world, and they always say, who controls the oil controls the world. And right now, they don't have control over the world because look around you. Not many people are traveling. Airlines are shut down. Ships are docked. No fuel is being used. But what's being used right now is coffee. And I'm not necessarily being biased to say that coffee is the answer, but coffee right now is traded higher than oil. And that's not just statements, that's facts. Europe and America released a statement that coffee has experienced during this time 101% increase in sales. So the proof is in the pudding, and there's many commodities out there, but what matters most is what you believe in. And whatever you believe in, you can achieve. And obviously, you got to minus fear out of whatever you do.
And basically, you're saying what is needed right now is what's making money.
Well, if you look at it, obviously adding value to people's lives as well. People need a sense of direction and leadership right now. A lot of people don't know what they are doing or what they're going to do. Yeah. And if you are a wise person as well, you could always reach out to someone else who needs to know that not everything is going to be okay. And one of the reasons how you'll know that is I don't really watch the news, and that's for like, I think it's been like 5 years now. I stayed away from the news, and my life has improved tremendously because I choose to put in my head what I believe. And one of the things is I removed was fear. So basically right now, look for a way as to how you can use your business to help people improve their lives.
What help and assistance relief funds are in place for entrepreneurs with small businesses at this moment in South Africa?
Oh, this is a very, very powerful question. I'm glad you asked it. Well, for all those people who have small businesses, doesn't really matter as long as you have a tax number and you're registered. I just read up an article that the first 3 days a plan was put into practice where people have donated, I think it's close to 10 billion rand to help small businesses thrive. So there is help for you out there. All is not lost. Your hard work and efforts will be rewarded. All you have to do is reach out, and I believe I have it right here. One second. So there are the disaster relief funds, and one of them being the South African Small Business Association, which is your Department of Small Businesses and Development. And if you go on Google and you type relief funds, it'll pop up. So all you got to do is fill in an application form with your business, your tax number, and you send it through to them, and they will allocate funds to help you recover during these times. And also major banks are also implementing things. So if you have like car payments, house loans, there's obviously a massive, how can I say, a massive improvement there where you don't have to pay the full amount right now. They are giving you sort of a grace period. So, you know what, we're not going to suffer through this. The country is together with us. We are all in this together. And there is help out there. So reach out to your Department of Small Businesses and get going. I believe in the first 3 days, this was launched. There was over 30,000 applicants that have applied for this funding during these times. So our country is here to help us. We need to reach out and take the opportunity.
Yeah, I believe the South African government, the president, in fact, and some of his ministers has taken a cut in their salaries to put towards that fund.
Yes, I mean, that's leading by example. I mean, it's a small-term cut, but it's going to help the country in a massive way. And I believe, I mean, everyone who's above the income, this thing, how can I say, the income, I'm just out of thought right now. But anyone who's earning an average type of income can actually survive during these times, because right now we need food, people need water, people need electricity and things like this. And by the president leading by example and having his cabinet members take a deduction in their salary really shows that they are putting us first as well.
So your opinion on those capitalistic, I think, entrepreneurs that's taking advantage of the hand sanitizers and the masks and selling them at exorbitant prices, not just in America, but I don't know if you've come across people that has pushed up their prices here. I know there is a competition committee that is sort of leveling all of that out. What is your opinion and sort of your comments around those individuals who are doing that? Because, of course, they are entrepreneurs.
Right. Well, exactly. I mean, like what I said, entrepreneurs, they are leaders. They don't want to be led. But right now, in a time like this, we shouldn't even increase the price of could be daily needs, your bread, your milk, your sanitizers. We shouldn't be increasing stuff like this, because this is in a time like this, your character is being tested. And remember, people are sitting at home right now. They don't have a steady income. A lot of them are sitting at home and getting paid half their wages, half their salary. And by you putting this up, they're going to choose buying hand sanitizer over food. And I think it's just the wrong approach. To be a proper entrepreneur, you need to give your products out there. I mean, at cost price, you need to focus much on the larger scale. And by you upscaling your price, it's just not being fair to other people out there.
So Zaf, leave us with your last comments, concluding, ideas around those that are struggling and that need to connect, where people can find you, because of course, as entrepreneurs, as small businesses, you guys need to huddle up and, support each other.
Oh, well, yes, I actually wrote something down here that I like to read just to sum up everything, right? So, I mean, one of the greatest people in Africa and actually world history was Nelson Mandela. And he said, you know what, I went for a long, long holiday for 27 years, right? So there's a guy who spent his time in exile.
Yeah.
He came out and he still managed to become president. And if you look a little bit down the line, there's another guy who was further up the line, Muhammad Ali, some of the greatest, arguably the greatest of all times. And he spent 5 years in prison. He came out and still became a champ, world champion and an icon. So, you know what, we are at home for less than 2 months. We're not going to be at home for years, and we have time to basically reflect on ourselves. And I want everyone out there, entrepreneurs or not, for you to sit at home every morning when you wake up. This is something that you can do with your family, your loved ones. Just list down 10 things that you are grateful for. 10 things you're grateful for every single morning. Do it with your family, your loved ones, your kids. And obviously, people who are not in your home, phone them up and just pass the notice on, and you will see how much they're grateful for. Things that you can do right now are simple. Basically, ask people for forgiveness. Even if they have wronged you, reach out to them and let them know, hey, you know what? I'm sorry if I wronged you in the past. Let's move forward in the future with the best intentions. And I guarantee you, the friendships you make today is going to build the pillars that you stand on tomorrow. And as an entrepreneur, you want to be making a lot of friends. And I wouldn't be in this business if I didn't basically switch my mindset. And now I'm friends with some of the most powerful leaders in the world as well. So I also want to tell people that in life, I mean, I don't enjoy debating politics, but it's not hard to see which countries are doing well and which aren't. And that comes down to leadership as well. And I'm really happy to be in South Africa and to be a South African because our president put our economy second and put the people first. The rand took a beating, but you know what? We will recover. The people of South Africa are what's most important. So I just want to tell people that if you ever watch the news never reports the good things first, right? If you look at the facts, there are 460,000 people that have survived Corona, but the news will always lead with the tragedy. So what you feed your mind is very important. And I want to tell people that, you know what, we are going to be safe. We are going to be well. Just follow the instructions given by our president and the government. And you know what, we will all get out of this. And this will be the story we will be telling our children, great-grandchildren, about how we survived this and what we have done to make our lives better.
Exactly. We're living in a very special time. It's a story to tell our grandchildren and friends and family. Thank you so much, Zaf Khan, for your time, and we appreciate your motivation as well. So anybody that can connect with him, please do follow the link below. And remember to also contact us on our WhatsApp number. We continue the show with our talk therapist just after this. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Very good day. Welcome back to Health Matters COVID-19 Extra. Every Monday to Friday afternoons between 4 and 5. That's where we will update you with the latest on the recent topics. Today we discuss financial stress. What is that doing to you? How should you cope? And just before the break, we spoke to Zaf, an entrepreneur in coffee, giving us some wise, inspirational words. It's like entrepreneurs have this embedded enthusiasm and coachness with self-coaches within themselves. But now we link up with our talk therapist, Shireen Dindar, holistic counselor who provides talk therapy and practices as a talk therapist. Welcome. A very good day to you. This is Health Matters. Hi, Shireen.
Alhamdulillah. Shukran.
Thank you for your time. Shukran for allowing us to pick your head and expertise around financial stress. Tell us a little bit about yourself quickly.
Okay, so I'm an education specialist by profession, and I've been doing holistic counseling since 2006. I'm a Dr. DiMartini facilitator. I also ran an entrepreneurship center for a TVET college and the Department of Small Business Development a few years back. So yes, so currently I am a talk therapist, and I love what I'm doing.
How do we deal with the anxiety and stress of the financial implications due to the lockdown?
Okay, so it's important that we understand what is anxiety in the first place. And because anxiety is what causes fear. So when you identify your fears, and perhaps those fears are, you know, fear of the unknown, what is going to happen? Am I going to run out of money? Will I lose my job? How am I going to make ends meet? Once we understand what are the fears that lie behind that anxiety, we are able to find, you know, solutions for the stress, and we can actually mitigate the risks. So I think identify fears, try and understand what it is that you have a fear for. Is it losing your job? Is it not making ends meet? And then, look for those solutions to alleviate some of that stress.
What are the ways in which we can adapt to the financial challenges we are currently facing, Shireen?
Okay, so it's definitely, about adapting to the hard knocks of life. And it's how we look at the content in our minds, how we perceive that content. Are we going to be, just looking for the doom and gloom, or are we going to be looking for the opportunities, finding the gaps in the market, finding a niche? And or are we going to bemoan our situation and feel sorry for ourselves? Because if we don't adapt, what happens is we become volatile and we become emotional. And so, like, there's so many ways that you can actually handle that. You can find meaning in your situation. You can look at the benefits and the drawbacks of your situation. And by doing that, you actually equilibrate your mind and you allow yourself, to make important decisions, not based on your emotions. So you can adapt also by planning your actions, not only concentrating on your losses or your gains, but looking at, as I said, weighing both sides and making sure that you find that equilibrium within your mind in order to take actions.
What are the sort of solutions to counterbalance the financial stress that we feel right now?
So we can start by being resilient, and as we spoke about, adaptability, and that way we can have a neutral mind. So we can become centered, we can set objectives to mitigate risks, we can be accountable. You don't have to keep quiet should you find yourself, stressed out about not making ends meet, your debit orders not going through, and also not, having enough money to pay the rent. You need to speak up. You need to be accountable. You need to let somebody know. You need to have a plan, work out a plan of action that can actually deal with your loss, and then find a strategy to build that finances again, your business again, if you are in business.
Let's look at how one can calm the fear of running out of money during this time.
Okay, that's a very interesting one. How do we calm that fear? So we need to start building and raising our value on wealth building. We're so used to paying paying everybody else besides ourselves. We need to start ensuring that we start paying ourselves, and by that I mean by actually planning a sort of a forced savings accelerated plan. So after this lockdown, after you've mitigated your risks, after you've realized how much you are in debt or how much loss you have encountered, start by ensuring that you have at least 3 to 6 months savings, liquidity. And that way you can have a cushion, a nest egg, you can fall back on that cushion and you can actually make sure that you can dip into that should a crisis ever arise. And, set aside money and don't spend beyond your means. Prioritize your actions, become creative in your business, streamline your business if you have to, and reinvent yourself and find innovative ways of thinking about how you're going to improve whatever it is you're doing, whether you are in business and what services you have to offer.
So the word fear came up earlier, and it came up now again. The entrepreneur we had on as well, because he also mentioned let go of your fear. What does that mean, and how can you actively implement that in your life?
So if you are going to be crippled and paralyzed by the fear, you again going to be very emotional. You're going to be very volatile, and you're not going to be able to have this equilibrated mind of looking at the pros and the cons. So once again, it's so important that you equilibrate your mind, that you look for both sides of whatever situation you're facing, and identify that fear and ask yourself, so what will happen to me, or what would be the benefits of that fear that I have actually coming true? And then looking at what that fear is and asking yourself, if I am afraid of not making ends meet, or if I'm not able to pay my rent, what am I going to do differently? How am I going to strategize? How am I going to start, not be complacent about what's happening? Look, the economy is going to change. There are going to be shifts. We're going to have to start thinking differently. So if you're going to concentrate on the fear, you're not going to be able to find the solution. So like I said in the beginning, identify your fears, write them down. Once you know what the fear is, you can deal with it, in small chunks.
Okay, we're on the line with Shireen Dindar, our talk therapist. Thank you so much for that. We're going to continue our conversation. And remember, you can interact with us via our WhatsApp line. Don't forget, it is financial stress, the finance that's causing you anxiety during this time. Lockdown, we are in day 19 of lockdown right up until the end of the month. But please have a look at this, how to cope with stress and anxiety about COVID-19. And a big thank you to WFMY News team for this compilation.
It's not just your physical health that's the concern with the coronavirus. All the stress and the anxiety from all that information you're getting 24 hours a day can have a huge impact on our mental health.
Kathy Clayton from Cone Health joins us today. She is a therapist and a program manager with the Employee Counseling Program with a master's degree in social work and a licensed clinical worker, so she knows what she's talking about. So Kathy, one of the biggest questions we're asking here is, how do you deal with all that stress and anxiety that can come from the coronavirus?
Absolutely, that's a good question. Everybody's feeling a heightened sense of alertness and awareness of their stress. Recognizing, I think, that stress actually weakens your immune system. So knowing that, it means that we need to take extra effort, put forth extra effort to calm our bodies. So what have you done in the past? What have you done in the past to calm yourself down when you've had a stressful event? Exercise is great, mindfulness is wonderful, deep breathing helps a lot, prayer, meditation, those are kinds of things. So you have to show up strong, because your immune system is going to be weakened if you don't show up strong and take extra precaution and put extra measures in place.
And Kathy, you also understand everybody has their own thing that de-stresses them. And
Right.
so people know if it's prayer, if it's exercise, whatever works for you, then
Right.
they should do that.
Right.
Here's another one. This exists. We all own, let me put that.
Right.
We all own one of these.
Right.
Do you suggest limit your phone use? Limit your television use, because the information, it's so much out there.
It's overloading on our sensors. It's overloading on our brain, our bodies. Yes, absolutely. We have to limit that. I would say find a couple of reliable sources, check those out maybe once or twice a day, and then you probably need to cut it off. You need to limit that and limit talking about it so much. Everybody's talking about it. Everywhere you go, everybody's talking about it. So you might be able to set some limits with other people and your friends, even your husbands, your spouses, your significant others, your parents.
Right.
You need to limit how much you talk about that.
The timer can go off.
And be firm but gentle,
Yes.
just kind of say, I'm not really interested in talking about this right now.
Absolutely.
Hope you heed to that important advice, and a big thank you to WFMYnews2.com. We continue our conversation with Talk Therapists. Ask your questions. Don't forget to WhatsApp them just after this. Welcome back. This is Financial Stress. We are talking about to our talk therapist, Shireen Dindar. Welcome back, Shireen. Let's get straight into the questions we have here. Let's look at some of the unnecessary risks that they might think of taking during this lockdown period, and how people should actively, look into it before they do take risks. Shireen, are you still with us?
We all know that the markets have, crashed and people are looking to invest, those that have liquidity. But obviously, if you're not in that position, now is not the time to go and invest. Now is not the time to buy into the markets or stock market, because you're going to have to literally look at your personal capacity, the duration of the impact this financial crisis has had on you in terms of severity, in terms of duration. Was it for 6 months? Is it going to be for a year? How are you going to deal with it? Looking at the impact, is it severe? Is it mild? Is it negative? Is it, catastrophic? So now is not the time to look at investing, but more like looking at your liquidity. And as I spoke about it earlier, in terms of making sure that you have that nest egg, that you have a cushion that you can actually fall back on. So avoiding unnecessary risks now is key, because you're going to have to survive.
Okay, so we'll wrap up with you at the end of the show. Shireen, please do stay with us. We will quickly now chat to Hasim Foza. Hasim Foza is a National Executive Director for an NGO, an organization, who will tell us a little bit more about themselves. But before we do that, let's listen to Dr. Shaida Umar, the Clinical Director for the Teddy Bear Clinic.
A virus like COVID-19 has impacted and affected the lives of people globally, and more particularly our children, who are affected by what they have seen, what they are seeing, and what they are living by. They are seeing an increase in panic, anxieties, and fear that is demonstrated by the elders, the adults, and caregivers. And as a result, we're finding that children are feeling anxious themselves, having many questions which are not answered, not being able to understand. So there's also this element of panic where they feel that they are also threatened or facing the threat of death, that death is imminent. And I think that is something that we need to be aware of, the impact and the effect it's having on our children, where we need to engage in dialogue, explaining to them step by step of what the coronavirus is.
So we now feature our NGO called Al Tawan Fi Al, and that is Hasim Foza. Very good day to you, Hasim. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
MashaAllah. Jazakallah so much for joining us. I'm good, alhamdulillah. Tell us how things are on your side, what your organization is doing, where do you reach out and help individuals, and how can they contact you if they need help?
Okay, Al-Tawin Fil Al is our organization, is a new baby that's doing development and giving people during this hard time. As you know, that everyone is not working, and then it's a hard time, and then the people they're having problems. Al-Tawin is an organization that's based in Enedil Station 9, and then we offering sanitary to the old people and to the young people, including the food. We give food to the people who are under corona, who cannot who cannot feed for themselves. So we struggle to give them, but we are trying our level best to give them food, so that in this lockdown they must perform nicely in their homes, and they must not be having a crisis of food and
Asim, do you have contact details or a bank account people can donate to? Where can they find you?
Contact detail is 074342302. And then the account number, we have two account numbers.
Yeah.
The first one is the FNB one, is 628303240000. And then the other one is Subsin Bank. Whoever have a connection with the Subsin Bank is 300020789.
We will post that information on our social pages, and anybody who requests those details of Hasim, you can contact him. That's their email as well as their website. Shukran so much to Hasim. All the best, and may the Almighty give you guys the necessary strength to grow from strength to strength. Assalamu alaikum. Afwan, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And today, our mosque feature for today is As-Salatu Nabiyu. That is the masjid that hosts majority of Nigerian Muslim individuals. So it is at 20 St. Aman Street, Melville North, and that is Melville rather, in north of Johannesburg. You can WhatsApp them for more details, 084 596 4930. They need funds to maintain the masjid. They can host almost 100 men and 50 ladies. Please support your local masajids, and this is one that we're featuring in Melville, Johannesburg North. Let's now continue and wrap up with our guest, Shireen Dindar. We just have a minute or two left. Shireen, your last comments, concluding comments, and also maybe safe websites, organizations that entrepreneurs or individuals, in fact, can reach out to for assistance during the financial strain.
Okay, so definitely we have seen a shift in the economy, and this is a low touch economy. So my suggestions is that, you study the new habits and regulations that are going to be shaping this low touch economy, and look at the impact that it has on you, mitigate those risks. Make sure that you have a strategy and that you also plan, and then also switch from defense to offense, because it's going to be the guys that are, fast movers in business that are going to make it happen. So you need to study the expected shifts in the consumer behavior, and look at how you can improvise and then negotiate this risk. So now is the time to invest in research and development and innovation, and assess the impact, make it happen, go on to the offense. And in terms of organizations, I'm sure there are, I know of Islamic Relief South Africa, I know of Gift of the Givers. So inshallah, alhamdulillah, Allah has a plan, and I'm sure Allah is in charge of this plan, and we need to just have tawakkul.
Shukran so much. Shireen Dindar, our talk therapist, we appreciate your time, and please note that you can connect with Shireen, and we will send you that details via WhatsApp. It's also on our social pages. Please do connect with us on our WhatsApp line, and we send you all the information that was broadcasted on today's show, Health Matters COVID-19 Extra. Tomorrow, join us for a new episode as we look at what's happening in the different provinces, what they need, what's happening with the medical centers and also organizations. But from myself, Hawa Solomon, for now, wassalamu alaikum and goodbye.